Good morning, good people. Welcome back to Collector's Quest, and thank you so much for joining me on another gaming adventure. Currently 23 minutes past 4. The reason why I'm up at the crack of dawn is it's finally car boot season. Hopefully we find some games, DVDs, Blu-rays, electronics, all of those things to trade in the CX for those sweet vouchers. So get the car loaded and I'll catch you when we get to Cole's car boot. Tempest Fugit, man, time flies. I can't believe it's been 5 months since our very first car boot hunting video at the start of April. It's crazy, right, how fast time flies. We've been to so many car boots, on the hunt for games, DVDs, Blu-rays, electronics to either add to the collection or flip into CEX for those sweet vouchers. And I figured today, in today's video, I'd take a retrospective look at the 2025 car boot hunting season. With the weather being pretty terrible, constant rain, I don't see myself going to many car boots this current year, so I figured today would be a great time to take a look back at the 2025 car boot hunting season. We'll go for the pickups, all the wins, all the losses, how much money I spent, and how many of those sweet vouchers I made. And we'll also take a look at some core channel stats, because it's crazy to think that in the space of 5 months the channel's grown from strength to strength, and it's insane to see all the subscribers, the watch time, the hours. It's mental. So I'll also go through how the channel's grown over the last 5 months, just for my own ego, if you will, if you'll indulge me. But I'll ask you guys, how is your car boot hunting season gone during 2025? What were your best pickups? How many of those sweet vouchers have you made? Sound off in the comments down below. And if you enjoy car boot hunting videos, CX adventures, game collecting discussions, then smash the like button and subscribe to the Collector's Quest channel. For anyone new to the channel, or for anyone who hasn't seen any of my car boot hunting videos, here's a high level overview of how I hunt at the car boot sales. I hunt for games, DVDs, Blu-rays, electronics, pretty much anything I can buy at the car boot sale for cheap and trade into CX for a voucher. I look to triple my money, so for every £1, I want to make sure the item trades in for at least £3 on a voucher. I then use said voucher to add games to my collection, and I've been doing this for around 3 to 4 years, and it's how I'm able to add some super heavy hitting games to the collection. Across 15 car boot hunting videos on the channel this year, I've probably been to around 25-30. Typically I hit up around 2 car boots per weekend. And the TLDR is, the season's been good without being exceptional. You can still absolutely build a killer collection funded by the car boots, but it is definitely getting way harder than it was in previous years. There are so many full-time resellers, people doing what I'm doing. Everyone knows there's value to be made and money to be made at the car boot sales, and games fly off the shelves or fly off the stores so quickly. Every man and their dog knows that games have got value, so I always look to try and branch out and look at other things. Like I picked up everything from calculators, hair dryers, drones, you name it. If CX take it in, I'm going to pick it up and flog it in for a voucher. And you've heard me mention so many times, blue coat, red bag man. People like him make it so hard to pick up things at the car boot sales, and a lot of people who do this as a full-time job, as soon as people pull onto the car boot field, pull up the handbrake, tap on the window, you've got any games, and for me, I don't approach car boot hunting like that. For me, it's a hobby, I do it quite casual, but the competition is so high. So typically, I'll just, browse the car boot sales at my leisure. If I see games, I jump in, I dive in, but I'm not one of these full-time resellers who do it as their full-time gig, or tap on people's window, you got any games. That's not how I approach this. But even with all the competition, I have done pretty decent consistently over the past few years. Last year I spent around £800 and made £3,000 worth of sweet vouchers, so that's really good in my books. And this year, drum roll please, I spent a total of £692.15 at the car boot sale, so probably slightly lower than last year. And when you factor into eBay sales, any other sales privately, it's probably closer to around £500, so that's not too bad. Obviously, it doesn't take into account fuel, wear and tear on the car, my time, anything like that. It's just pure cash spent at the car boot sales. And across the 25 to 30 car boot sales I went to, it probably averages out to around £20 a car boot, so that's pretty good going in my opinion. Now, the number you've probably all been waiting for: how many of those sweet vouchers did I make? I made a grand total of £2,913.40, so again, right in line with 2024's figure, and for me, that's really good. Before I did this video and before I looked at the footage, I thought it was going to be closer to £2,000. Like, I wouldn't consider this to be a standout year, but yeah, £3,000 nearly is not to be sniffed at. Obviously, take that value with a massive pinch of salt, because some of the things that I did buy from the car boot sales obviously failed. When I took them to CEX, I might have sold things to eBay, gaming stores, so the figure might be slightly lower, but £3,000 is really good. And yeah, I mean, some of the things that I picked up were added to the collection, so factor that in, but that value is not to be sniffed at all. And in terms of some of the best items I picked up from the car boot sale this season, nothing stand out really, like no amazing items. Like I said, I'm not an aggressive car boot hunter, if you will. I'm not banging on people's windows, I just do it casually. Most of the things I just find out in the wild naturally. And I think, off memory, the best game I picked up with the most amount of value was a copy of Deadpool for the PS4. I paid £5 for that, and I think it's like a £60 game at CEX. So annoying, because I wish we found it probably 12, maybe half a year ago, because back when the Deadpool versus Wolverine film came out, that game massively popped off and it was around £100 at CEX, but unfortunately wasn't to be. But still a decent game to find for just a £5. We of course also found those banging N64 completing box games for £3, Super Mario 64 and Mario Kart 64. Just to find any Nintendo cardboard at the car boot is amazing. The first time I've ever found any cardboard at the car boot for the N64. My first ever N64 games that I picked up, so yeah, that was a buzzing experience. I also picked up a ton of DVDs and DVD box sets, and probably the best DVD finds of the 2025 car boot season was a ton of 4K Ultra HD DVDs, or Blu-rays if you will. I paid a £5 and I think I got something silly like £95 on a sweet voucher. So again, I've said it plenty of times, always look for more than just video games. DVDs and DVD box sets and 4K Blu-rays have got some insane value, so do not leave them behind. Do your research and pick up those sweet vouchers from DVDs, because yeah, there's a ton of value to be made. In terms of electronics, nothing crazy like last year. I think last year I found a Synology NAS, which was like £80–90 value, and I paid a £5 for it. So this year, nothing to that scale. I think I found a DJI drone, which I've still got up there in the loft. CEX wouldn't take it because they couldn't download the app. We'll try it again in a future video. And I also found a couple of consoles, nothing mental. Like I found a PS2, a couple of 360 bundles, probably a Wii here or there, but again, nothing to write home about, but it all still adds up. I did also add some games to the collection from the car boot sales. Nothing crazy, and most of the things I do pick up go straight into CEX, but some of the best finds that I got added to the collection was a copy of Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Paid £1, and that's like a £40 game at CEX, so for £1, an absolute bargain. Also, at the very first car boot that we documented on the channel, we found a copy of the Resident Evil 4 tin edition. That cost me something silly like £1.80. I also found a copy of Metal Gear Solid, the special missions for the PlayStation 1. Again, £1.80. And for the first car boot of the 2025 car boot season, that was a great start. And a big shout out to Diego Damo. He secured the goods and he found these at the car boot sale. So a big shout out to you, mate, because that car boot was super busy, and getting the elbows out, it was hectic, man. But yeah, he got the goods, so shout out to him. I've also got to mention this as well because it's not a game, but I use it every single day, and it's this bad boy. I found a Logitech MX Master 3S mouse from the car boot. Picked it up maybe May time from Hogs Lane. Paid £3, and that's like an £80 mouse to buy brand new. It's an amazing mouse. I use it every single day. I use it for my day job, for editing. It's an absolute workhorse. And for £3, one of the best finds of the car boot season for sure. But definitely the best item that I added to the collection during the entire car boot season was that boxed PlayStation 3 Super Slim. To find a box console out in the wild at the car boot was an amazing find. It's a 500 gig Super Slim, complete in box with the controllers, the inlay, the manuals, the paperwork, all that good stuff. And for £40, I was buzzing with that pickup, man. I still use that console to this very day. It works like a dream. It plays Drakengard 3 really well, despite Drakengard 3 playing really badly. Yeah, that console was a great find from the car boot and just made me appreciate the sleekness of the Super Slim. I still much prefer the normal Slim, just prefer the matte finish, but finding that console out in the wild at the car boot has made me appreciate much more the design of the Super Slim. Great console, so don't be opposed to picking it up if you find it for cheap. So even though I didn't add many games to the collection directly from the car boot sales, of course we picked up some absolute bangers, added them to the collection using those sweet vouchers. So I don't know how many games we've added to the collection, way too many to go through, but definitely some of the highlights was that complete in-box copy of Blaze of Time for the PlayStation 3. I never thought I'd own that in the collection. As someone who loves collecting for the PlayStation 3, that game was almost a grail. It was the top of my wish list. It was a unicorn, a white whale, and to finally pick up that copy, added to the collection for £230 was amazing. That game probably cost me somewhere in the region of £60 to £70 in terms of real world money, so to add it to the collection for a fraction of the cost is amazing, man. And I think it is still around £220, so very expensive, but as someone who loves collecting for the PS3, it is definitely a great find and a great centerpiece for my PS3 collection. Another game that I did not think for one day I would add to the collection was a copy of Silent Hill Shattered Memories for the PlayStation 2. That game cost me £220. It is the European edition, so it isn't the UK version or the BBFC one, which is the more desirable version of that game, but I don't care. It's still PAL. The spine still has English on the side. It still plays in English. I don't care if it's got some Dutch writing. And as someone who loves Silent Hill, especially after playing Silent Hill 2 Remake last year, to have that in the collection is insane. And I think the BBFC version goes for something stupid like £440. I don't think there's any copies in stock at CEX at the moment, at the time of this recording, so yeah, I don't care. For £220, obviously a lot less in terms of real world money, yeah, I don't care, man. I've got a copy of Silent Hill Shattered Memories in the collection, just amazing, man, amazing stuff. And with Halloween coming up, I can't wait to delve into my backlog of survival horror games in my collection. Whenever I go and embark on a brand new car boot hunting season, I always set out with a target, a North Star if you like, if you want to get too corporate about it, and I always go out with a plan of what I want to achieve for that car boot hunting season. And at the start of 2025, I wanted to bolster and bulk out my survival horror collection, especially on the PS2, and boy have we done that, man. Like, we've got some amazing survival horror games in the collection, like, it's unreal, man. We've got Haunting Grounds, Forbidden Siren 1 and 2, all of the Project Zero games, all the Silent Hill games in the collection. It's just mental, right? We've got Clock Tower 3, we've got Obscure 2. I still need to pick up Obscure 1, but one day we'll add it to the collection. And obviously I am missing some of the big boys like Kuon, Roller Rose, Michigan Report from Hell. One day we'll get to those, but I've got more than enough survival horror goodness on my plate to be playing this Halloween. So yeah, great stuff. But let me know in the comments down below, random question, right, but let me know, do you go out with some sort of plan, some sort of target for your car boot hunting season? Have you been trying to acquire any sort of games for any particular genre this year? let me know in the comments down below. But I think for me, it was definitely mission accomplished in terms of adding some banging survival horror games to my PlayStation 2 collection. I can't wait to be scared, man. I'm going to be terrified, but yeah, absolutely over the moon with my PlayStation 2 collection. To round out this video, I want to go over some analytics for the channel over the last 5 months. You know, stroke my ego for a bit, just indulge me, give me your time for a couple of minutes. And I think it's really interesting to see how far the channel's grown over those 5 months. And I think it's cool to take a step back and review how well we're doing as a channel. So this actually surprised me, but the best car boot hunting video in terms of views was actually the very first one that we uploaded on the 8th of April, where we found that copy of Resident Evil 4, the tin edition, and the Metal Gear Solid Special Missions. That video's got around 7,400 views, which is amazing for a channel of my size. And thinking about it, it kind of makes sense why that one was the best one during 2025. Everyone's hyped up for the car boot season at the start of March, April time, and obviously everyone's looking to indulge in some car boot hunting goodness. So I kind of get why that one popped off so well. And typically most of our other car boot hunting videos fall between 2,000 to 3,000, some doing better. But for a channel of my size to have pretty much 2,500 views on most, if not all, of the car boot hunting videos, that is amazing stuff. So again, a big shout out to all of you guys for the amazing continued support, because it definitely makes this endeavor all the more worthwhile. In terms of subscribers, man, like the channel is, I wouldn't say blown up, but it has done really well. So the channel has more than doubled in terms of subscribers. So on the 8th of April we had 1,736 subscribers. And at the time of recording, we've got around 3,930 subscribers. So what's that, like another 2,100 subscribers? That is insane stuff. So again, a big shout out to everyone new, everyone old. If you've been here since the very first video on my crappy little action camera, or you've been here for a week, I massively appreciate all your support, all your comments, all your feedback, all your interactions. Like I said, it makes this so much worthwhile if you're engaging with every single video. So yeah, a big shout out to all of you guys for that. But some of the stats that really shocked me were the amount of views and the watch time hours. So over the last 5 months, we've had around 200,000 views on all of our videos across the entire channel, which is crazy, right? That's so many views. Yeah, mental stuff. But the figure that surprised me even more was the watch time hours. So we got around 28,000 watch time hours in those 5 months, which is, that's crazy, man. Like, that's so many hours that people are watching the Collector's Quest channel. Like, not to, like, you know, toot my own horn, that's just, you know, that's just incredible, man. Like, that is so much time. And just to put it into context, like, to get monetized on YouTube, you have to have 4,000 watch time hours, and to get to that figure, it took me around 10-11 months, and in 5 months we've done like almost 6-7 times that. So yeah, those stats are crazy, man. And with YouTube, it is very much a trial and almost like a science experiment. You never know what's going to work. You know, thumbnails are hard to create, the overall video story can be hard, and sometimes you can get bogged down and you can hyperfixate on the numbers. But just seeing them like that, black and white, it does make you realize that what we're doing here is great stuff. And like I said, man, just a big shout out to you guys. Like, you make all this possible. Like, I'm just a host. It's your channel, it's my channel, it's, you know, it's all of our channels. So yeah, just a big shout out to you guys, man. And hopefully you do find value from the videos, either entertainment, learning what has value, what to trade in for those sweet vouchers, how to approach collecting differently, how to build a curated collection. So hopefully it does bring you some value, because it definitely gives me some value. So the $1 million question, I'll get on my high horse and I'll let you guys go, but was it worth all of those 4:30 AM starts every Saturday, every Sunday for the last 5 months? In terms of value, I would say it's a resounding yes. Like, to almost have £3,000 worth of sweet vouchers, and to add, you know, thousands and thousands of pounds of games to my collection. Like, from a collecting point of view, definitely yes, you know, no regrets, loved every minute of it. Love the hunt, love the thrill of the hunt. So from a collecting point of view, this car boot season has been a massive success, and I'm really glad I've done this video, because before going for the stats, like I said, I thought it was a meh season, like fairly average, but these stats just show it's been such a successful car boot season. So yeah, no complaints from me whatsoever. And in terms of the car boot season being over for me, I'm kind of mixed on how I feel about it. On the one hand, like I said, I am not sad per se, but I do kind of miss it, because you get the itch to get out there, you know, the wheeling and dealing, the hustle, the grind, the elbows, just the competitiveness. I do love digging through boxes, the thrill of the hunt, not knowing what you're going to find. It is, you know, it's a massive adrenaline rush, and it gets me up out of bed every single Saturday and every single Sunday, despite only having 4 or 5 hours sleep. Like, without fail, I'm up at the crack of dawn hunting for those things, so I am going to miss that. But on the other hand, I won't be lying if I am kind of happy that it's over, because some weeks you're kind of like, oh man, not again. You just can't be bothered. And I think a couple of people have commented on my, you know, how I hold myself on certain videos, how I look, my demeanour. Sometimes I'm like, hey guys, I'm just dead right. And some weekends I'm running on about 8 hours sleep total across the entire weekend. I think the bank holiday weekend just gone, when we did the £100 car boot hunting challenge, I probably had something like 13 hours sleep across the whole weekend. It's not healthy. Do as I say, not as I do. Like, it's not a lifestyle I recommend doing consistently, but I don't regret it. But I am going to definitely appreciate the extra sleep and getting up at a normal time. And I think physically and mentally it's good to just recharge the batteries, because it does definitely take its toll on you over 5 months. So yeah, I am going to be looking forward to a couple of lie-ins from time to time. But you've heard me blabber on for long enough. I want to hear from you guys. How has your car boot season been during 2025? What are your best pickups? What have you added to your collection? How many of those sweet vouchers have you made? Have you made any arch and nemesis like Blue Coat, Red Bagman? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there in the comments, if you haven't done so already, smash the like button and subscribe to the Collector Quest channel for more game hunts, CX adventures and discussions around everything around video game collecting. And on screen right now, we've got the winner of those 2 amazing steelbooks we were giving away that we announced on a couple of videos ago. So if you see your name on screen now, congrats to you. Reach out to me via Instagram or email and we'll get these steelbooks sent out to you. And for the next few videos, man, we've got some big things coming to the channel. Like, I've teased it enough. The next few videos are going to be putting into action those massive changes to the room. Like, down there, I've got some massive things, man. Yeah, get the guns out. Get the screwdrivers out, get the drills out, because we're making some big changes to the room. So definitely keep a watch to the channel so you don't miss out on those, because yeah, we're doing some big things to the room. And as always, good luck on your game hunts and collecting adventures. Take it easy, YouTube, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, sorry enough. I know it's mine. That's all my question.